Hi there, Otávio here. My name is Otávio, I'm Brazilian, and I'd like to help you to develop your skills in English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese, my native language. I speak English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese, and I'd like to advise you to develop your skills in those languages. I will share with you my experience with language. I have been studying English at least for 4 years, and in 2019, I decided to improve my English conversation, and then I started talking to people around the world using an application called Hello. And after that, I was able to speak in English because I had previous experience with English. I had calls, audio calls with people around the world in Asia, Europe, America, Africa, and that's it. Because now it's really important to understand what do I need to do for speaking a language. And in my opinion, it's really important to understand because in French, for example, I'm studying French at the moment, and I can say, oh, I'm intermediate level, and I have intermediate level in French. But in my opinion, what matters is you are able to have real conversation with native speakers, and I can say yes, I do. I'm able because I had several calls in English, several calls in Spanish, and several calls in French too with native speakers. And for me, what did I do for develop those language? So it's simple. Practice the language. The most important is you should try to study the grammar. The grammar is important. I totally agree with that. But in my opinion, I learned a lot when I started using two applications. For example, one of them called Tandem, and another one is called Hello Talk. So there you are able to talk to native speakers, text something, have audio calls, video calls, for example, and that helped me a lot to develop my skills in French, Spanish, English too, and I also help people to practice Portuguese, my native language. So, in my opinion, I don't care about, oh, I'm advanced, I'm intermediate, I'm beginner. So, what matters, in my opinion, is if you are able to have real conversations with native speakers, if you are able to read, write something, I don't know, because in my opinion, what matters is communication. Communication is essential in a language. The accent, for example, I don't have an American accent, a British accent, so, but people can understand my English. People can understand my Spanish. People can understand my French, but I don't sound like a native speaker because native speaker is a native speaker, and that's it. That's it. And I will say something that will help you a lot in English, for example. To speak a foreign language is really complicated sometimes, but it's not impossible, my friends. Because every single day you should practice the language. Oh, I have 20 minutes for practicing. I have an hour. I don't know. 30 minutes. So it's enough. But you should Practice your language, your current language at the moment every single day. How can I do that? It's simple. If you send a text message to your pen friends around the world on those applications that I said before, it's something you are practicing if you are sending a message, because message is a kind of communication, and so it's important to practice. Oh, you can read something, news, for example. You can watch videos on YouTube in English, in Spanish, in French, in Portuguese. I- but you need to listen to your current language because it's important for understand how you should pronounce the words, the sentence, and your listening is really important. But only listen to YouTube content, podcasts, songs. It's not enough for speaking. Listening is really important, but you should develop every single skill. For example, speaking, listening, writing, and that's it. Because to be fluent, to be able to have conversations, communications, in general, you should develop every single skills. But my friend, so for example, I never studied Spanish at Spanish schools, but I studied at high school Spanish and the grammar, but I never talked to native speakers uh, in Spanish, for example. And then this year I started talking to people on Hello Talk firstly, and after that on Tandem. So now I can say I speak Spanish because I have been practicing Spanish for at least 7 months, and I had calls with my friends. I have pen friends around the world in Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico. For example, I have pen friends in France, Toulouse, for example, the United States of America. So I'm able to talk to native speakers daily, and I can help them in Portuguese, my native language. And so, something is really important because sometimes when you study a language, the grammar, the rules, and you compare with native speakers make mistakes. It's normal. I make mistakes in Portuguese, my native language. I make mistakes in English. I make mistakes in Spanish, in French too. But what is really important? You must try, my friend. You must try to express your humble opinion in those languages. If you would like to speak a foreign language, it's really important to try. I try every day. I'm trying right now to start channel, a YouTube channel right now for sharing my knowledge in language to encourage you to speak English, for example, Spanish, French, Portuguese, and I will share something that worked for me in the past, what not worked for me in the past, and what I do every single day, every single week to develop my skills in English. I don't know everything in English, in Portuguese, in French, in in Spanish, but I'm able to have real conversations with native speakers, and that is the most important for me because I care with communication. Communication. I don't care about my accent. My English is not perfect. My Spanish is not perfect. My French is not perfect. My Portuguese is not perfect. But people can understand when I speak all of the language that I have knowledge, that I speak at the moment. And so I think it's really important to try, and I will say again, try, my friend. Don't worry if you make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. And one day, Steve Kaufman, a famous polyglot on YouTube, said, "Forgetting is part of our knowledge." And I totally agree with him because every day I read a new word. For example, now when you have like a knowledge in English, like knowledge in English, or you're intermediate or more, you are able to read the definition, not to read the translation to your native language, because now you understand English, you understand many things in English, you are able to read, to watch videos, to speak something, and now it's time to change. What did I do? What should I do? For example, you should try to read the definition of some word if you don't know, if you don't understand this word. For example, it's now I read the definition on Cambridge Dictionary, and so it's really important right now. When you are in English, you should understand something in English. If you read the books is on the table, you shouldn't read like o livro está em cima da mesa. Don't and so it's important to understand in English. If you are able to get word by word when you are listen to a podcast, YouTube videos, it's a signal that your listening is like able to understand the words, the pronunciation in a real time. And so, my friend, now, for example, yesterday I had 4 calls with my friends. Uh, the first one, it was in French and Portuguese with my friends, my French friend, and so it was really important for me because now I can say, oh, I developed I developed quickly my skills in French because I have been studying French with a French teacher for 7 months, and I had 7 calls with my friends, my French friends, and I'm so proud of me. And that is really important for my future because if you are able to speak a foreign language, there are a lot of job opportunities for you, and that's it. In the United States of America, Europe, I don't know. For example, now maybe I'm intermediate or advanced. I don't care about my level. I care if I'm able to have an interview right now in English, in Spanish, in French, in Portuguese to get a new job opportunity. If I can talk to native speakers, and so I love language because that I think I'm able to improve every single day my skills, my knowledge, and one thing is the key for your development. Vocabulary. Vocabulary is essential, but grammar is essential, and a group of things are essential for your development. grammar, vocabulary, listening, speaking, reading. Reading is really important for getting new words. When you are reading, you see the word and, oh, I don't know this word. No worry, you can read the definition on the dictionary. So it's important to use the technology to improve your language. For example, oh, I don't know how can I pronounce this word. Try to put this word on Google Translate and listen to the pronunciation. It's possible to listen to its pronunciation, but pronunciation is something really important in a language. And for example, I don't care if you are an American and you have an American accent when you are speaking Spanish, French, Portuguese. But if you pronounce correctly the words, the sentence, it's enough for me because I understand something familiar for me. For example, if I understand the right pronunciation, and sometimes you should uh, practice the pronunciation. Try because sometimes there are challenge for pronounce some sounds. It's complicated sometimes for foreign people, but the pronunciation is really important, and uh, because that I know if you pronounce correctly something, people will say, "Oh, you speak pretty well English, Spanish, French, Portuguese because you pronounce the words correctly," and that is true. And so now it's time for thinking about what you are doing for develop your skills. If you would like to speak English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, I can help you. Every single week, I will upload a new video to share my experience and try to teach something that helped me a lot during my journey more than 4 years when I started my English course in 2018 when I was 18 years old, and after that in 2022 this year I decided no, I would like to find a new application for practicing my Spanish, and then here I am now. I have French, I have Spanish, I have English, I have Portuguese, and so four languages, and every single day I try to have real conversations with my friends around the world. And the most important exercise to do is speaking, having real conversation, and put in practice what you really know in English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, because real life is real life. There is not subtitles when you are in real life, and you should practice. And how can I practice a language, English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, if I don't have a partner to practice those languages? So it's simple. You can practice alone at home. Try to talk to yourself at home in front of the mirror. I was watching a YouTube video from English teacher 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I was studying English at home, and then an English teacher said, talk to yourself. Talk to yourself. Oh, I was doing that, but I decided to do by myself. And then when I was watching this YouTube video, oh, I do that. So, and that kind of exercise is important to organize your ideas, my friend. So, my friend, I think you are able to develop your skills, but you should analyze if you are walking on your right pathway, if what you are doing at the moment are useful, are helpful, is helpful for your development. If you are you have been studying English for 5 years and you are not able to have a real conversation, it's something really, really, really wrong with your method. Because imagine me, um, now in French, I have been studying French for 7 months, and I'm able to have real conversation. And of course, I don't know everything, but I had conversation, long conversation during 2 hours, an hour, and that's it. But it's real life. But my goal is communication, speaking and writing, text message, to have virtual conversation with text message, WhatsApp, Telegram, Hello Talk, Canon, applications in general, YouTube comments, Instagram, and that's it. And because my goal is communication, because that every single day I practice. You are able to send an audio message to practice, to listen to an audio message. It's something you are practicing if you do that. So, my friend, I will say again, you are able to do that, and I will help you. I'll help you because I love language, and I know my English is not perfect, my French is not perfect, my Spanish is not perfect, and my Portuguese is not perfect. But uh, perfection is not possible in a language because, my friend, if you I need to be perfect in English to speak, my friend, try to say something. Try to say something. Don't worry about mistakes, perfection, because communication is the key for your life. For your life. So, if you, oh, I need to speak perfectly English like a native speakers. No, native speaker is native speaker. So, if you'd like to speak a language, you should try to speak the language. So, my name is Otávio, I'm Brazilian, and I decided today to create this YouTube video for helping people around the world to develop their skills in English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. And next year I will start studying Italian, and after Italian, German. And I will continue develop my skills in English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Italian, German, because language is impossible to know everything. In every single day it's possible to learn something. Nobody will know everything because it's impossible. Language is complexity. So, my friend, the most important is language is a process to follow during your journey, and you should use something that you really like to do. Try to listen to to music, for example, if you really enjoy songs or I don't know YouTube videos, try to do something that you really enjoy because you should be motivated to achieve your goals. So I will stop here and thank you very much for your attention right now. And I love language, and so I will say again. I would like to help you, and if you enjoy my videos, subscribe it on my YouTube videos because your your subscriber will be my motivation to continue sharing my knowledge, my experience, and of course, I'm learning every day those language, but I'm trying to uh, express my opinion. Sometimes I make mistakes with pronunciation. It's normal, but I try. I'm trying right now, and you should try to achieve your goals. And that's it. Have a wonderful day, rest of the day, and practice language. Why not right now watching this YouTube video and see you on the next episode. See you, my friends. Thank you very much for watching my videos and see you.